The cold wind whipped through the metal streets of the space station, cutting through the thin layers of clothing worn by the small alien girl. She coughed, her chest burning, and tried to lift herself from the cold floor, but her legs felt weak. Her skin, pale with greenish tones, shone faintly under the harsh neon lights. Around her, people walked quickly, glancing away, their faces full of concern, or was it fear? She could not tell. "Too sick to save," a medic had said, tossing her onto the empty street like she was nothing. The words echoed in her mind, cruel and final. She tried to call out, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, someone—" But the sounds were swallowed by the station's endless hum and the clatter of moving boots. The girl shivered, hugging herself. Every breath hurt. Every heartbeat felt heavy. She tried to remember how she had ended up here. One moment she had been in a hospital ward with bright lights and machines beeping. The next she had been pushed aside, left like broken cargo. Her thoughts blurred. The pain in her head made her dizzy. Her vision swam with red and white spots, and yet a small flicker of hope remained. Deep down she felt that maybe someone would notice her. Maybe someone would come. She closed her eyes for a moment, shivering, and then she heard it. A soft, rhythmic sound. Footsteps. They were slow, deliberate, careful. She opened her eyes, squinting against the bright lights of the station. From the shadows a figure emerged. A human. He moved carefully, watching her without fear. His clothes were simple but clean. There was a calm in his face, a strange kindness that made her stomach twist with both hope and suspicion. Could she trust him? She had learned long ago that trust could be deadly. He knelt down slowly, keeping his distance. "Hey," he said gently, voice low. "Are you hurt badly?" She did not answer. Her throat was dry, her mouth almost too weak to move. He saw this and reached into his bag, pulling out a small blanket. He did not touch her yet, he only draped it near her. She shivered under its warmth. The human crouched, studying her carefully. His eyes were sharp yet soft, like he was searching for the truth behind her pain. "I know they left you," he said quietly, as if speaking to himself. "But I can help." The alien girl's heart skipped. Help? After everyone else had abandoned her? She wanted to believe, but years of being treated as weak and unworthy told her otherwise. Still, there was something in the way he looked at her, something honest. Maybe he really meant it. Slowly, she tried to sit up. Her body protested. Every movement sent waves of pain through her limbs. She fell back exhausted. The man did not scold her. He only knelt closer, his hands open, showing he meant no harm. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. "I just want to get you somewhere safe." A shadow moved across the wall behind him and she flinched. Had someone followed him? Or was it just her imagination? Her body tensed, ready to defend itself even though she was too weak to fight. He noticed and spoke again, softly. "You're safe. I won't let anyone take you." Slowly, almost painfully, he scooped her up. She felt his warmth, the steadiness of his arms. And for the first time in what felt like forever, she allowed herself a single, trembling breath of relief. As he carried her, her mind wandered. Who was this human? Why did he care? She had been called too sick to save, and yet here he was, risking something to take her away from the cold streets. She wanted to ask, but her voice would not work. Instead, she just clung weakly to his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart. The station lights blurred past them, a whirlwind of colors. Her stomach tightened. Where was he taking her? Would this place be safer, or would it be just another trap? She could not tell. But still, something inside her whispered that maybe, just maybe, things could change. The man moved with purpose, carrying her down long corridors and past guards who barely noticed them. The hum of machines, the distant chatter of other humans, it all seemed far away. He was focused on one thing, getting her somewhere she could survive. Finally, he reached a door and gently set her down. It was warm here. The air was clean, not like the bitter chill outside. She looked up at him, eyes wide and questioning. His gaze met hers, steady and calm. "You'll be okay here," he said. "I'll make sure of it." And for the first time, the alien girl felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. But even in hope, a shadow lingered in her mind. Who was he, really? And why did he care so much about someone like her? The alien girl blinked, trying to take in the warm room around her. The cold streets of the station were gone, replaced by soft lights, gentle hums of machines, and the subtle scent of herbs she had never smelled before. She hugged her thin arms around herself, unsure whether to trust this stranger who had saved her. The human knelt nearby, studying her quietly. He did not speak at first, letting her adjust. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp, as if reading her every thought. The alien girl watched him warily. Every muscle in her body tensed, ready to flee if danger came. "Don't be afraid," he said finally, his voice soft, not commanding. "I won't hurt you. I just want to help." She wanted to believe him, but years of fear and rejection made her hesitant. Her alien instincts warned her strangers could be dangerous. They could take advantage of her weakness. But something in his gaze, the gentleness, the certainty, made her pause. Maybe he was different. Slowly he moved closer, holding out a small tray. On it were soft foods, strange in color but smelling pleasant. "You need to eat," he said. "You're too weak to keep going without it." Her stomach twisted. She had not eaten in days. Hunger gnawed at her, but she hesitated. What if it was poisoned? She shook her head slightly. He did not push. He only smiled, patient and kind. "When you're ready," he said. "I'll be here." The alien girl watched him. Something about the way he moved, careful, deliberate, but not fearful, made her feel safer than she had in a long time. Tentatively, she reached out and took a small bite of the food. It was warm, soft, and delicious. Her eyes widened. She had not eaten something so good in weeks. The human watched her quietly, letting her eat at her own pace. As she ate, she stole glances at him. He was unlike anyone she had ever seen. Strong, but not aggressive. Calm, but alert. And his hands. They moved with a strange gentleness, even when adjusting the blanket around her. She wanted to ask his name, but the words caught in her throat. Finally, she whispered, Why do you care?" The human looked at her, expression thoughtful. "Because no one deserves to be left like that," he said simply. "You're alive. That's reason enough." The alien girl's heart skipped. His words felt strange, almost magical. No one had ever said anything like that to her before. Usually, people just ignored her, laughed at her, or left her to die. He had picked her up, carried her here, and spoken gently. She wanted to trust him, but fear held her back. For a moment, silence filled the room. The soft hum of machines, the distant lights outside, the faint warmth of the blanket, it all created a strange sense of safety. Then suddenly a noise outside the door made her flinch, a metallic clang followed by a hurried step. The human's head turned quickly, eyes sharp. "It's okay," he said softly, laying a hand lightly on her shoulder. "Just someone passing by. Nothing to worry about." The alien girl's muscles relaxed slightly, but her heart still raced. She realized that even in this safe place danger could be near. And yet, she felt a spark of trust toward him, the first in a long time. Over the next hours, he helped her lie down, checked her breathing, and adjusted the warmth of the room. He spoke little, but his presence alone made her feel more alive than she had in days. Sometimes he glanced at her as if calculating something, and she wondered what secrets he held. Was he really here just to help? Or did he have other plans? Night fell, but the station lights remained soft like stars trapped in the ceiling. She tried to sleep, but anxiety kept her awake. Her mind raced with questions. Who was this man? Why had he saved her? And why did her heart feel strange whenever she looked at him? Finally, she drifted into a light sleep, feeling the steady warmth of his presence nearby. In her dreams, she saw flashes of danger, the streets, the medics, the cold. But then his hands would appear, lifting her, shielding her. Even in sleep, she felt his protection. When she woke, he was still there, checking her condition. "You slept well?" he asked, voice gentle. She nodded slowly. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice still weak. He smiled faintly. "You're stronger than you think," he said. "And you'll get stronger. I'll help you." The alien girl looked at him, and for the first time she imagined a life beyond sickness, fear, and abandonment. A life where someone cared for her, protected her, maybe even trusted her. Her eyes softened. Maybe, just maybe, she could start to hope. And yet in the back of her mind, questions remained. Who was he really? Why had he risked so much for her? Could she ever fully trust him? Or was this just another trap waiting to be revealed? The human left her alone for a moment, promising to return with more supplies. The alien girl lay back, staring at the ceiling, her body tired but her mind alive with curiosity and cautious hope. She had survived the streets. She had survived the cold. Now, with this strange human watching over her, survival might mean more than just staying alive. It might mean discovering a new world she had never known before. And deep down, she felt that her life was about to change forever. The alien girl awoke slowly, blinking against the soft glow of the room. The warmth was unfamiliar, and for a moment she thought she was dreaming. The cold streets of the station, the harsh medics, the wind biting her skin, all of it seemed distant, like a nightmare fading at dawn. But the ache in her chest reminded her it was real. She was still weak. The human was nearby, quietly adjusting a small device that hummed softly. It looked like a medical machine, but unlike anything she had seen before. Tiny lights danced across its surface, and a gentle mist rose from it, filling the air with a faint, sweet scent. Her curiosity peeked through her fear. "You're awake," he said, not looking at her directly, but his voice carried calm authority. "How are you feeling?" I'm fine," she whispered, though her voice cracked. Her throat was dry, her body still fragile. He turned his gaze to her, eyes scanning her form with careful precision. "Not fine," he corrected gently. "Your body is still weak. You need rest, food, and treatment. I can help with all of that." She swallowed hard, glancing at the strange machine. What is that?" "It helps your body heal," he said simply. "It's safe. I promise." A shiver ran through her, not from the cold this time, but from unease. Machines had always meant control, experimentation, pain. But there was something different about him. He had saved her, carried her here, and treated her with care. Perhaps she could trust him. Reluctantly, she let him guide her closer to the machine. It wrapped around her, warm and soft. She felt a strange tingling in her arms, her chest, her legs. The human's hands moved over her gently, adjusting straps, checking sensors. His touch was firm yet soothing, and for the first time in days she felt a small spark of relief. "You're healing faster than I expected," he said, his voice calm but with a faint note of surprise. "Your body is strong even if your condition seemed hopeless." Her eyes widened. "Strong?" she whispered. She had always been treated as weak, disposable, too sick to save. Could it be true? Could she actually survive this? The human nodded. "Yes, you're more capable than they believed, and I'll make sure you stay that way." She wanted to ask more, but fear held her back. Why had he really taken her here? Was this about saving her or something else? Her heart pounded as she watched him move, the faint hum of the machine blending with the steady rhythm of his movements. Hours passed, and the alien girl began to feel the first real warmth in her body in days. Her coughs became softer, her breathing steadier. She felt a glimmer of hope, fragile but real, yet questions gnawed at her mind. Why do you help me?" she asked finally, her voice almost a whisper. He paused, looking at her with a thoughtful expression. "Because no one should be abandoned when they're in pain," he said. "And because I saw something in you. Something worth protecting." Her stomach tightened. Something worth protecting? She had never heard words like that directed at her before. Usually people looked past her, called her weak, or left her to die. But he had chosen her, and now she was alive because of him. The day passed slowly, filled with moments of silence broken only by the soft hum of machines or the occasional click of the man's tools. She watched him, learning small details, how he worked with precision, how he moved without fear, how he sometimes paused, staring into space, as if thinking about something far away. By evening, she felt strong enough to sit up. The human offered her food again, and she accepted more confidently this time. As she ate, she noticed something on a nearby table. Small devices, strange vials, and papers filled with symbols she did not understand. Her curiosity rose, mixed with fear. "What are those?" she asked quietly. He looked over, eyes calm. "Tools," he said simply. "I use them to help people survive in dangerous conditions. Nothing more." She nodded slowly, still unsure. His words were comforting, but the object suggested there was more to him than met the eye. Was he just a kind human or someone with a hidden purpose? As the night deepened, he guided her to a soft bed. "Sleep," he said. "Your body needs rest. Tomorrow you will be stronger." She lay down, staring at the ceiling, heart racing. The warmth of the room, the steady presence of the human, and the faint smell of herbs created a strange comfort, and yet questions lingered. Why him? Why now? And most importantly, could she trust him completely? A few hours later, she awoke to find him sitting nearby, reading a small device that glowed softly in his hands. He glanced at her, eyes calm, then returned to his work. She watched him for a long time, studying his face, trying to understand the man who had appeared like a miracle in her life. Something in her chest shifted, a fragile spark of trust, growing slowly amidst fear. Maybe she could survive this, maybe she could learn to live again, and perhaps, she thought quietly, maybe she could even learn to hope. But deep inside, a question remained, hovering in the shadows of her mind. Who was he truly, and why had he saved her when everyone else had left her to die? Days passed, and the alien girl began to feel stronger. Her coughs were fewer, her steps steadier, and the glow of life returned to her skin. Each morning she woke to the human's quiet presence, his calm voice checking her condition, offering food, or guiding her through gentle exercises. At first she had been cautious, unsure of his intentions. But slowly, the walls around her heart began to soften. He had a way of moving around her space that was careful, respectful. Nothing was forced, nothing rushed. The alien girl watched him often, studying the way he handled the machines, the way he prepared meals, the way he glanced at her, sometimes with an expression she could not quite read. Curiosity mixed with a strange warmth she had not felt in a long time. One afternoon, the human set up a small workspace, showing her how to adjust some of the healing devices herself. "You can help your recovery if you learn how these work," he said. His voice was patient, teaching, not patronizing. She hesitated but reached out, touching the smooth surface of the machine. His hand brushed hers briefly. The contact was small, almost accidental, but it sent a shiver through her. I didn't know I could do this," she whispered. "You're stronger than you think," he replied, meeting her gaze. His eyes held a strange intensity, gentle but firm, as if he believed in her more than she believed in herself. For the first time, she felt not just safe, but seen. Not as a weak alien left to die, but as someone capable, someone worth attention. Her heartbeat quickened and she looked away, embarrassed by the sudden warmth in her chest. Evenings were the hardest. Silence fell, and the shadows seemed longer, reminding her of the streets, the cold, the cruel words of medics. But he would sit nearby, reading or sometimes talking softly about small, ordinary things. The weather outside the station, stories of distant planets, or memories from his past. His presence filled the room, comforting yet mysterious. One night, a loud crash outside the room startled her. She jumped, pressing herself to the bed. The human was immediately alert, moving to a window. He scanned the corridor, expression sharp. "It's okay," he said after a moment. "Just some maintenance bots. Nothing dangerous." Her body relaxed slightly, but the adrenaline lingered. You always know what's happening," she said, a mix of awe and curiosity in her voice. "I pay attention," he said simply. "It keeps us safe." The alien girl studied him, noticing the way his jaw tensed, the way his eyes softened when they met hers. There was something protective, something caring. She had never experienced this. The human she had known before had ignored her or treated her as weak. But he was different. Over the next few days, small moments built their connection. He would bring her meals, carefully cut into small pieces so she could eat easily. He would show her how to adjust her blanket for comfort. Sometimes he would just sit and watch her sleep, making sure she was okay. These simple acts were strange to her, yet they made her heart feel lighter than it had in years. One evening, she found herself laughing softly at something he had said, a joke about a bot that refused to work properly. He smiled, a rare, genuine smile that made her stomach flutter. She realized she looked forward to these moments, the sound of his voice, the way he moved, the quiet reassurance of his presence. But the world outside was never completely safe. The alien girl knew it. The medics who had abandoned her could have been following her. Or worse, enemies of the human could find her here. Every shadow made her wary, every noise made her tense. Yet in his presence, the fear was tempered by a fragile trust growing day by day. That night, as she prepared to rest, she noticed him watching her from across the room. He gave a small nod, acknowledging her silently. She felt a strange warmth in her chest, a sensation that was both thrilling and confusing. Could this be affection, trust, something more? She could not name it yet, but it made her heart beat faster. As sleep overtook her, she realized that the man who had appeared from nowhere, who had saved her from death, was now a part of her world. He was the one who made her feel safe, who made her feel alive, who made her believe for the first time that perhaps she was not alone, and deep down, a whisper of hope stirred. Maybe, just maybe, the bond between them would grow stronger. But even as hope bloomed, questions lingered. What was his real purpose? Why had he chosen to save her when everyone else had abandoned her? Could she fully trust him? Or would the world remind her again that vulnerability was dangerous? For now, those questions remained unanswered. All she could do was feel the strange warmth in her chest, the fluttering of her heart, and the cautious belief that she had found someone who truly cared. Days had passed since the alien girl had begun to recover. Her coughs were almost gone, her strength returning steadily. The warmth of the human's home, the soft hum of machines, and the gentle care he offered had begun to feel familiar. But with familiarity came questions, and with questions came a strange stirring in her heart that she could not yet name. That evening, the human returned from the station's outer labs carrying a small glowing device. He set it gently on the table and looked at her. "I need to show you something," he said softly. Curiosity mingled with apprehension. She had learned to fear unknown devices. They usually brought pain, not comfort. Yet the trust she had slowly built with him made her hesitate before fleeing. Instead, she sat closer, eyes wide, watching him carefully. "This," he explained, gesturing to the device, "can scan your health in detail. It can tell me if your recovery is complete, and if there are any changes in your body I should be aware of." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Changes?" She felt a flutter of uncertainty. "What kind of changes?" she asked. He met her gaze, calm and honest. "Your body is healing, but there's more happening. Something important." The alien girl's stomach tightened. Important? What did he mean? She had survived abandonment, starvation, sickness. What could be more important than survival? The human activated the device, and a soft glow bathed the room. The display showed her vitals, her healing progress, and then a symbol she did not understand. His eyes flicked to hers, steady and calm. "You're pregnant," he said quietly. The words hung in the air like a fragile promise. Her breath caught and her heart raced. Pregnant? She had barely begun to recover. "How? Why?" She shook her head, confused, fear mixing with awe. I don't understand," she whispered. He reached out, placing a hand gently over hers. "It's true," he said. "Your body, it carries life, a child." "My child." The alien girl's eyes widened. The room felt suddenly smaller, warmer, heavier with unspoken emotions. She wanted to flee, to hide, to deny it. But a strange truth sank deep inside her. This life inside her was real, and it was tied to him. Fear surged first. What if he changed his mind? What if this bond was just another trap? She had survived betrayal before, and the memory of cold streets and harsh words made her tremble. But then, she looked at him. The same man who had carried her from the streets, nursed her through sickness, treated her with care and respect. He had not abandoned her. He had risked himself for her survival. And now he was here, calm, steady, and honest. You mean that?" she asked, voice trembling. "Yes," he said simply. "I will protect you and this child. Nothing will harm you." A fragile warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in years, she felt truly seen, truly safe. But trust did not come easily. She studied him carefully, searching for any hint of deceit. There was none. Only truth, patience, and care. Tears welled in her eyes, a mixture of fear, relief, and an emotion she could not name. I've never felt this safe," she whispered. He smiled faintly, eyes softening. "You deserve to feel safe," he said. "You deserve more than survival. You deserve hope, care, and love." Her heart skipped. Love? Could it be? She had seen fleeting kindness before, but never this depth of feeling. Never someone who risked everything to protect her, without asking for anything in return. The room was quiet, save for the hum of the device and the soft rhythm of their breathing. Slowly, carefully, she leaned closer. He did not move, allowing her to come as near as she wished. "Why me?" she asked finally, voice barely a whisper. "Because no one else saw you," he said. "Because I saw something worth saving, something worth protecting, and I care for you." The words sank in, soft but heavy, shaping her thoughts like water shaping stone. She felt a strange warmth, a fragile light igniting in her chest. It was hope, yes, but more. It was connection, trust, something new, something powerful. For hours they sat together, talking quietly. She asked questions about the future, about the child, about him. He answered patiently, never hiding, never lying. With each answer, the walls around her heart softened brick by brick. But even as hope bloomed, uncertainty lingered. The streets had taught her that life could change in a moment. Danger could return at any time. She knew the bond with him would be tested. Yet for now, in this quiet room, with this man who had appeared like a miracle in her life, she allowed herself to feel something long forbidden: trust, and the faint, exhilarating stirrings of love. And deep inside, she realized something she had never dared to think. This life growing inside her, this connection with the man, might be the start of something new, something she could fight to protect, something worth surviving for, something that could change everything. The alien girl had begun to feel a strange sense of peace. The warmth of the human's home, the soft hum of machines, and the gentle care he offered made her feel alive again. Her body was stronger, her cough almost gone, and the glow of life had returned to her skin. Yet in the back of her mind a cold shadow lingered. Danger had never been far from her life, and she knew it would return. It did, sooner than either of them expected. The human had stepped outside to check supplies, leaving her alone in the room for only a few minutes. But those minutes were enough. A sudden noise, a metallic clang, followed by heavy footsteps, made her heart race. She froze, listening intently. The sound was different from the usual hum of the station. It was deliberate, threatening. Someone was here. The alien girl's instincts kicked in immediately. She tried to move quietly, slipping behind a stack of crates in the corner. Her body was stronger than it had been, but fear still made her muscles tense. She peered cautiously, heart pounding. Through a small window, she saw shadows moving in the corridor outside. Figures tall and dark, armed with strange weapons. Medics, bandits, she could not tell. Suddenly, the door to her room burst open. She ducked instinctively, and the figures stepped inside. They froze when they saw her, alien eyes wide and wary. She knew she could not fight them alone. They were too strong, too many. Panic surged through her, but then a familiar voice rang out, "Get back!" The human appeared in the doorway, his stance firm, his eyes sharp. He carried a small glowing device in one hand and a sleek weapon in the other. His presence was commanding, fearless. The intruders hesitated. They had expected an easy target, a sick, weak alien girl. But now they faced someone prepared, someone dangerous. The alien girl's heart leapt. He had come for her, just as he had promised. The human activated his device. A bright, blinding light filled the room, forcing the intruders to shield their eyes. He moved quickly, striking with precision. Each movement was deliberate, efficient, and powerful. The alien girl watched in awe and fear, realizing just how capable he was. One of the intruders recovered and lunged at her. She froze, unable to react in time, but the human was faster. He intercepted the attack, pushing the intruder away and creating space between them. The alien girl stumbled back, clutching her stomach, feeling both fear and relief. She was alive because of him. The fight continued, brief but intense. The human's movements were controlled, calculated, but there was no hesitation. He defended her with skill, striking, dodging, and using the glowing device to disorient their enemies. The alien girl wanted to help, but her body was still recovering. She could only watch, trembling, as he protected her. Finally, the intruders fled, realizing they could not win. The human lowered his weapon, breathing heavily but calm. He turned to her, eyes softening. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice steady. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm fine," she whispered. Her voice shook, but she felt a deep gratitude. He had risked himself for her life. Again. He came closer, kneeling beside her. "You're stronger than you think," he said gently. "But we need to be careful. They might come back." The alien girl nodded, realizing the truth in his words. The world outside was dangerous, and survival required more than strength. It required trust, courage, and unity. She looked at him, her protector, and felt a bond deepen between them. Not just trust, but something more. Something that gave her hope even in the shadow of danger. Over the next hours, they secured the room, checking doors, windows, and every corner. The alien girl helped, using what strength she had. Each action, each movement brought them closer together. The human spoke little, but his presence was reassuring, guiding her, protecting her, showing her that she was not alone. That night they sat together, exhausted but alive. The alien girl's hand brushed against his almost accidentally, and he did not pull away. The warmth of his touch, the steadiness of his presence, filled her with a sense of safety she had never known. "You protected me," she said quietly, voice trembling. "Even when it was dangerous." He smiled faintly, eyes soft. "I will always protect you," he said simply. No matter what comes, her heart skipped. For the first time she felt not just survival but hope, not just trust but love. And deep inside she knew that whatever danger came next, they would face it together. But as the shadows of the night stretched across the room, a small cold thought crept into her mind. This danger was only the beginning. There were more threats, more enemies, more challenges, and the bond they shared would be tested in ways neither of them could imagine. For now, though, they were alive, together, and that was enough to keep the flicker of hope burning brightly. The sun, or at least the station's artificial morning light, filtered softly through the windows. The alien girl stirred, stretching her arms and feeling the strange new strength in her body. The events of the past days, the sickness, the abandonment, the fight, the revelation of new life inside her still felt unreal. And yet here she was, alive, breathing, and no longer alone. The human was nearby, adjusting the healing devices that had helped her recover. He looked up as she woke, eyes soft with concern and warmth. "Good morning," he said quietly. "How are you feeling?" She smiled faintly, a small light in her chest. "Better," she whispered. "Thanks to you." He shook his head gently. "No thanks needed. You survived because you are strong. I just helped." Her eyes lingered on him. Strong, yes, but more than that, she realized that she had found someone she could trust completely. Someone who had risked everything for her. Someone who had seen value in her when the world had called her worthless. Together they moved through the day with a quiet rhythm. Meals, gentle exercise, and long conversations filled the hours. The alien girl learned about his past, about the worlds he had traveled and the risks he had faced to protect life. In turn, she shared small fragments of her own story, memories of the streets, the cold and the fear that had once consumed her. As they spoke, a soft bond grew stronger, built on trust, care, and shared vulnerability. She realized that she no longer feared the human, not for herself, not for the life growing inside her. There was a strange comfort in his presence, a feeling she had never known before. Later, he led her to a small garden area he had built inside the station. Plants grew in neat rows under soft lights, and the air smelled faintly of earth and water. He knelt beside her, showing her how to tend the small plants, how to water them gently, and how life could thrive even in a place built from metal and cold walls. "You see," he said quietly, "life finds a way. Even here, even when it seems impossible." She nodded, touching the leaves with care, and for the first time she saw herself in the small growing plants. Life had found a way in her too. Against sickness, against abandonment, against danger, she was alive, and she carried within her the promise of something new. Evening came, bringing with it a quiet peace. The station lights dimmed to a soft glow, and the hum of the machines was steady and comforting. The alien girl rested on a soft blanket, watching the human prepare the evening meal. He glanced at her and smiled, the kind of smile that carried warmth, trust, and something she could not yet name. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice steady this time. He shook his head. "I told you, no thanks needed. But I am glad you are here and I am glad you survived." "That is enough." A gentle silence settled between them. She realized that the bond they shared was no longer just about survival. It was about trust, care, and the beginnings of something deeper. The child growing inside her, the life they had fought to protect, symbolized more than hope. It symbolized a future. Weeks passed and the alien girl grew stronger every day. Her body adapted to the new life she carried, and the human guided her through each change with patience and care. Their relationship deepened, not through grand declarations, but through quiet acts of kindness, preparing meals together, tending the plants, sharing stories, and simply being present for each other. One morning, she felt a new strength in her body, a surge of life that made her heart beat faster. The child inside her moved and she placed a hand on her stomach, feeling the small but undeniable presence of the new life. She looked at the human who stood nearby and a soft smile spread across her face. He came closer, kneeling beside her. "Feeling it?" he asked, eyes full of warmth. She nodded, touching her stomach gently. "Yes, it's real," she whispered. He placed a hand over hers, a protective and tender gesture. "Yes, very real. And we will protect it together." For the first time in her life, the alien girl felt truly safe, not just in body, but in heart and mind. She realized that survival was not enough. Life was about trust, love, and hope. And here, with this human by her side, she could finally believe in a future beyond fear. Night fell, and they sat together quietly, hands entwined, watching the soft lights of the station glow like stars in the darkness. The alien girl's thoughts wandered to the past, the sickness, the cold streets, the fear, but she no longer felt despair. Those moments had shaped her, yes, but they had also led her here, to warmth, safety, trust, and the promise of new life. As she rested her head against his shoulder, she realized that life, no matter how harsh, had a way of giving second chances. And this second chance, her life, the child, the bond with the human, was something worth protecting, something worth fighting for, something worth living fully. The future was uncertain. Yes, but for the first time she welcomed it, because now she was not alone. She was alive. She was loved. And together they would face whatever came next. Stronger than before, ready for a new beginning. And in that quiet moment, the alien girl understood something simple and profound. The world could be harsh, even cruel, but humans, when they chose compassion, could change everything. And she had found one who had,